Okay, so yeah, so looking at different materials for different floors. I'm going to show you two approaches. Right, so just go on to the upper level there, so you can see I've got this floor material that of course goes across the entire floor area. So that's the whole floor. I'll just select it so that you can see the whole thing. All right, and so then if we go to, say, this courtyard area, we might want that to be tiles, for example. So, okay, so you've got really, again, two slightly different approaches. So the first one is to use split face. So that's on the modify tab. Right, so once you go over to modify, you'll see just above the hammer and then the paint tool, you've got split face there at the top. So with split face, you need to pick the floor first. And if you have select by face turned on, it makes it a bit easier to pick that floor. So I've picked my floor and I know that I've picked it because now I can see the outline of the floor is coming up in that sort of faded orange. So we need to keep an eye on that. So I'll then just draw where I want the edge of my tiles to be. So just tracing around the walls there. And notice I'm not going over the edge of the floor. So I'm going up to that orange line, but not over it. So that's now defined a separate face for my floor. So I'll finish it. And then to make it have a different material for that area, we're going to use the paint tool, but to use the paint tool, you need to have the material already made. So before I click on paint, I'll go to the manage tab, go to materials, and then make my material. So we are going to get a quick chance to look at a bit of materials today because we have to for this. So that's good because it can just remind you of these basic things. So I've got there my materials at the top. I don't have any tile materials as yet, so I'll just go and make a new one. Let's do it from the library, and they keep moving these buttons around. Now it's down here, isn't it? No, that's asset browser. We don't want that. It's the where is it again? Oh, that's right. It's this thing. So weird. Okay, so yeah, there used to be a different button. Anyhow, they've changed it with 2020, so now it's this up arrow. And then you've got the home tab and you can go to AC materials and, what have they done to me? Empty. Look at the filter. That's weird. Okay, so there should be materials in there. Yeah, they've messed around with this. Again, some of the developers working for Revit are complete morons. This is meant to be a read-only library, so who would ever anyhow forget to populate that, but they have. All right, so I can't show you that method. I'll show you another way. Okay, so to make a new material, we'll just click on here, create new material on that sphere. And then here where it's got default new material, we'll right click and go to rename and call it ceramic tiles. Oh, it's outdoor, but no, we'll just use ceramic anyway. And then I'll go to graphics on the right, and we'll set a surface pattern and go to model and just set, say, 150 mil squares. Or maybe if it's outdoor, we want bigger. So let's go for 250 mil squares. And then go to the appearance tab. And then in this case, right click and replace to get the asset browser, where we can go to the appearance library and then ceramic, tile. We've got a bunch of tile materials that are okay. Not amazing, but good enough for this. So we'll just get the, let's say, the 6-inch, I don't want octagons, 6-inch square beige. It'll do for now. So I've just double clicked on that, and that's now gone into the appearance. Now, just so you know how this material works, it gets the pattern. So the tile shapes that you can see there are coming not from the settings at the top, but from the relief pattern here. So it's the size of this tile image that sets the size of the tiles there. So the white means high basically, and black means low. That's why we get the grooves. That's where it's black. So if I click on this image, and then you can see there the size. So remember, we've got 2 tiles in each direction in that image. So this is the size of 2 tiles. So that's about 150 mil each. And remember, I set 250 in the graphics, so I may as well use the same size here, which means if we have 2 tiles and they're 250, that adds up to 500 in each direction. Okay, so they are slightly bigger. The preview hasn't changed, but they are slightly bigger. And then I can change the color here as well if I want. And that's the nice thing about this type of tile material. It's easy to change the color. Some of them it's not so easy. And so let's go for, don't really want beige, but for outdoors, don't know, probably don't want anything too colorful either, but let's just do something different. Let's go for pink or something. Okay, so you can easily make your own tile material, just like that. And so now to apply that material, I'll go back to the Modify tab, then use the Paint tool. There's my ceramic tile material already selected. We leave this open, and then we simply pick the area where we want the tiles to go. So that's one approach. But there are some problems with that approach. So what I found, especially with a lot of my larger projects, is if I use split face a lot, it actually creates a lot of errors where the material doesn't know where to go, and it can actually go onto other surfaces, or you just lose the material altogether. So I find sometimes a slightly better approach, maybe I'll just do it over here. So let's say this is going to be a bathroom. So I'll just put a door there. Okay, so that's going to be our bathroom. I'll just hide these other things for now, so they're not in the way. Okay, so then instead of using split face, I actually do something much simpler, which is to make a new floor. So floor architectural, and then I'll go to edit type, duplicate, and we're just going to call this tile floor. Then I'm going to change the structure. I'm going to click edit there and make this thickness 20, and then change the material. I'll just use that same ceramic tile material, but you could always make your own at this point, but I'm happy to just use the same one. Okay, so that's the floor done. That's the floor type settings done anyway. But then I'm also going to change the height over here in properties to match the thickness that I gave. So remember, it's only a 20 mil thick floor, so I'm going to make the height offset 20, and then simply draw the shape I want that floor to be. And that way I can control really easily how far I want that to go into the door. If any of you know how far the tiles, normally you stop it about the middle, so it's under the door. But because this door's open the other way, I'll take it to the other side. So that's a much more error-free approach. If I click tick to finish, you can see now my tile material is going to cover the floorboards underneath. And I won't have any problems with split face causing issues using this approach. So if I move the section through there, you'll see it's actually truer to the way it would be built as well, because this is the way you would build tiles over an existing floor. It would increase the thickness in real life. So it's not a bad thing to have it modeled in that way. And so you can see here, looking at the section, that floor is a little bit thicker, just there. But again, that's okay. And, you know, again, if this was a real project, what I would then do is probably treat this floor as the main concrete floor. And that way, if I wanted to have, say, a timber floor in the rest of the unit, I'd have another floating thin floor for, you know, floating timber flooring or something like that. So it's a really good approach, especially if you are working on a project that's going to go through to construction. But even for projects like you're doing, which are basically presentation style projects, it's not a bad approach just to make an extra floor on top just like that. So a couple of different ways of doing it, and yeah, you should all be able to get different floor finishes in the different areas just like that using either of those approaches. So let's start the recording.